Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show after the show for the salad dressing episode. Um, so, wow, this recipe was really popular, more so than I expected. I guess a lot of people want to eat salad in the new year. But it also got a lot of people talking about MSG because some people have mentioned that the Japanese Kewpie mayo that I use and stress the importance of in the recipe contains MSG. So I thought that I would take this opportunity to talk to you about my thoughts on MSG. So the summary of it is that I don't cook it with MSG myself, as you know. But I also don't believe that it's evil and detrimental to your health when consumed in the normal amount that one might consume, without going crazy. I enjoy the flavor of MSG, and for certain things, I actually look for like snacks and chips in particular. Like if I see that, oh, they add MSG to this, like I feel good about that because I feel like, oh, this is gonna be tasty. And so let me expand a little bit. So a lot of research has been done on the use of MSG and the health effects, and there's been no evidence that it causes harm to your health when consumed in the normal amount. And also people who claim that, oh, I'm allergic to MSG and this and that, they have also done studies on those people who claim that they are allergic to MSG, and they find that it's in fact a placebo effect, that they're not actually allergic to MSG, but they think they are when given food that they believe to contain MSG. So they'll give these people food that doesn't actually have any MSG, and they tell you that they tell them that it does, and then all of a sudden they have these symptoms. So a lot of research has been done on that, and that is why no health agencies anywhere in the world have put a ban on MSG. Because there's just no evidence that it causes harm. Again, I stress in the normal amount that you would consume. There have been experiments where they feed rats like loads and loads of MSG, and then those rats go and develop issues, but no one is eating MSG by the spoonful or shooting it up their bloodstream. Now, this makes a lot of sense because MSG is not it's a naturally occurring substance. So MSG stands for monosodium glutamate. Monosodium means one sodium molecule, and glutamate is really the thing that tastes good. So when you consume it, the sodium and the glutamate actually comes apart from each other, and you just end up with the sodium, which you get in salt, and then glutamate, which is the stuff that tastes good. And glutamate is the thing that occurs in a lot of naturally umami-rich food, like Parmesan cheese and like sauteed mushrooms, that meaty flavor of mushrooms, tomato sauce, beef, things like that. And so it is something that already exists in nature, and that's why, like, you can't, if you were allergic to MSG, you'd be allergic to all these things as well. And the synthetic form of glutamate, MSG, the white powder stuff, is actually present in a lot more food than people think. If you eat Doritos, there's a ton of MSG in Doritos. If you eat any kind of seasoned potato chips or snack foods, there's a ton of, like so many of them have MSG. Sometimes MSG is present, but they don't write it out as MSG. They'll use other hidden terms like yeast extract, or I think yeast ester extract is a big one, where it's a yeast extract, but at the end of the day, it's really just a way of adding MSG to the food. So there's that. Sometimes they'll call it flavor enhancer. So people avoid the word MSG because they know that people have this sort of averse reaction to it. So they call it by other names. And actually, a lot of seasonings that we use in Thai cuisine, well, I don't say a lot, just only a couple that I can think of contains MSG, such as the Thai Healthy Boy brand soy sauce, and I believe also some brands of chili paste, like the roasted chili paste, Nam Prik Pao, also contains MSG. It's really not a big deal because by the time, you put that thing, you put that a small amount of soy sauce in your food, how much MSG is really ending up in your food at the end of the day. So it's really not that much. However, I do think that there is such a thing as too much MSG. For me personally, when I eat something that has a lot of MSG, now I am quite attuned to the flavor of MSG, so I can tell when a food has MSG added. I can like separate that flavor out. Like for example, a lot of ramen, like Japanese ramen shops will add MSG to their food. Japanese food has a lot of MSG in it. A lot of Thai food at Thai restaurants in North America have tons of MSG in it. I used to work in a Thai restaurant where literally they would order MSG in 50-pound bags, I'm telling you, and they would add like a teaspoon of MSG into like every batch of the stir fry that they were making. Now this was a quick service restaurant, so it wasn't like per plate, but it would have maybe fed like, for a portion that would have fed 10 to 12 people, they would add a teaspoon of MSG, and they added to everything that they used. More story on that to come, but anyway, what I'm trying to say is you're probably consuming a lot of MSG than you think. And for me, when a place overdoes it, I can really taste it, and then the thing that I get is I get really thirsty. I feel like I'll need a lot of water, and it feels like no amount of water will satisfy my thirst. So that has happened in very rare occasion from time to time, and I think it's just because MSG, it's such a flavorful thing that it almost just like wears out your taste buds a little bit. Like your taste buds get so exhausted from this bombardment of flavor that it just feels a little bit raw almost, that I just feel like I need to like wash it off with a lot of water. That happens sometimes too when I binge on a particular potato chips that's very well seasoned. I will feel like I need to drink a ton of water. It's probably also not just the MSG though, it's probably a combination of salt and MSG that's sort of like wearing on my taste buds. So then, if I think it tastes good and I don't think it's harmful, why do I not cook with it? Because I feel like it can very easily become a crutch for bad cooking, for bad ingredients, for bad technique. And actually a lot of people in Thailand, so MSG in Thailand also has a bad rap, but what people will use instead is these chicken powder or seasoning powder. It's like powdered chicken stock basically, which is another form of chicken flavored MSG basically. And a lot of people will use that in their cooking because they feel like it makes everything taste better, which it does because you're adding MSG to it. But then, I feel like for someone who sees cooking as sort of like an art form, I do feel like it's sort of cheating. And also, I feel like the flavor of MSG is, things with MSG in it just doesn't quite taste as fresh and clean. For some reason, like it becomes heavy on your taste buds, right? And then it's hard to explain, and it just has a different feel to it, which is great for when you're like wanting to enjoy a hearty bowl of ramen, or like you really want to get that satisfaction from a bag of Doritos. But every day in, day out, I feel like it's a bit much. Which is why I think like if you eat, say, at a Chinese restaurant all the time or at a Thai restaurant all the time where people use MSG in those restaurants, it can really wear on you a bit, and you just feel like I need something lighter and fresher. Like, I don't know if you've ever gone so many days with takeout and junk food and all this, and your body, your mouth specifically, just feel like it wants like some vegetables. And I really do think that you can easily overdo it in that sense. And also, as somebody who makes recipes for other people to follow, I'm aware that this is not something everybody wants to use. This is something that a controversial ingredient. So it's just not a part of my cooking. I don't even use the chicken powder, the Thai chicken powder. Every once in a while, I will sneak in dashi powder, which is the Japanese fish stock powder. And that is also another form of hidden MSG, but also it adds not just MSG, but it also adds that smoked cured fish flavor that is so iconic in the Japanese flavor. And every once in a while, I will add that to my food. Like I've added it before in my garlic fried rice recipe. And for that, I think it really adds a level of flavor. So I don't just add that as a way to sneak in MSG or anything, but I really like the flavor of dashi powder as a whole. So it has, it has its use in certain places. So that's it. That is my thoughts on MSG. And so I would love to know what you think about it. And this is probably gonna ignite some passionate comments from you, but I'm here and happy to hear from you, whatever your thoughts are. Oh, and I have one more tip that I want to share with you that I just realized got cut out of the main video. So this is what happens when I now don't edit my own videos. I don't always know what got cut out, but I do remember this one got cut out, and I think I want to share with you, and that is, in the video, I shared that I always like to buy raw sesame seeds and toast it myself to make sure that it stays fresh. But what you can also do, and my Japanese friend did share this with me, that is something that her mom does, is if you buy sesame seeds that's already toasted, because sometimes at the store, it's easier to find pre-toasted sesame seeds, especially the white ones. You can re-toast those again. You can because they'll toast them sort of, medium color, right? But for this deep roasted dressing, we want a deep roasted flavor. So you can take that, toast them even further, and it'll sort of refresh them a little bit, breathe new, freshly toasted life into them. And you can take it as far as you want for this dressing. And that is it. Thank you as always for your support. I hope some of you have had a chance to make this dressing. I'd love to know what you think of it. All right, see you later. Bye. Oh, and I have one more tip that I want to share with you that I just realized got cut out of the main video. So this is what happens when I now don't edit my own videos. I don't always know what got cut out, but I do remember this one got cut out, and I think I want to share with you, and that is, in the video, I shared that I always like to buy raw sesame seeds and toast it myself to make sure that it stays fresh. But what you can also do, and my Japanese friend did share this with me, that is something that her mom does, is if you buy sesame seeds that's already toasted, because sometimes at the store, it's easier to find pre-toasted sesame seeds, especially the white ones. You can re-toast those again. You can because they'll toast them sort of, medium color, right? But for this deep roasted dressing, we want a deep roasted flavor. So you can take that, toast them even further, and it'll sort of refresh them a little bit, breathe new, freshly toasted life into them. And you can take it as far as you want for this dressing. There. All right, so that is it for me, and thank you as always for your support. I hope some of you have had a chance to make this dressing, and let me know what you think of it. And that is it. Thank you as always for your support. I hope some of you have had a chance to make this dressing. I'd love to know what you think of it. All right, see you later. Bye.